Hey guys, and welcome to Carl's Crash Course in Great Design. And this is my favorite episode so far. This episode is going to be about innovation, and specifically my secret and magical formula for creating innovative stuff. Where I came from was when I did product design, we had to create innovative processes so that we can make stuff that didn't exist or that people would basically crave, stuff that people would really want and that didn't exist, or that existed but that wasn't delivered in a great way. So a couple of things that could be innovative. So here's the product that I talked about earlier, which is the Gaia product, which is a hydroponic growing unit. Here's a couple of sketches before we went to the final version, which looked way different from this. But here you can kind of see where we came from with the ideas. So when we created this one, we had, I think this is these are three different versions of or ideations of what the product could look like or how it could work before we came up with the final version. So here you can see how we had these different stackable boxes, which we had in the last version as well. This one has the stackable boxes as well. And then it's sort of tilted out like this so that the plants could sort of pass the box that was on top of it and sort of grow out. With this version, you wouldn't be able to do that. Here's a stepped version, but that's limited to only like the three boxes. We wanted to do like a product that you could stack on top of it itself, like over and over again. It wouldn't, like, you could have like 10 of these on top of each other. In this version, it's really small and really light, but then you have the problem where you can't really stack stuff on top of it, and it actually ended up being really low. So if you wanted to get or like plant some seeds or get down to the lowest one, you would really hurt your back. So that was a big problem. So that's one product that we worked on. Here's another one. It's where the first product I showed you, the Gaia one, is a innovative design. Here's a innovative process behind it, or the way you're using it is innovative. Looking at it, you wouldn't really know what it is, but what it is a ECG device that you can wear whenever you want, or you can wear it in your daily life. When you go to hospitals today, you either get, at least in Sweden, you either get a recorder, so basically a tape recorder that you have to carry around. It's big as like an old school 80s boombox that you have on a strap over your shoulder, and you have to carry it around at the hospital, which means that you can't really measure your heart rate and your heart in your everyday life, where you will go out and run, maybe you when you take a shower, when you eat food, when you're at work, where you actually would have the problems. Instead, you're at the hospital and you only see what happens at the hospital. Maybe when you're at the hospital, you're really calm and you don't have any problems with your heart. So with this product, we want to solve that issue so that you can measure your heart variabilities, but in your everyday life. So what we created was this device and then a t-shirt with the electrodes that is integrated into the t-shirt. So the only thing you have to put on is basically, if you know what Under Armour is, the company Under Armour, they have really tight t-shirts that sort of fits your body and it sort of molds to the shape of your body. The t-shirt we used here was the same thing. You basically put this thing with a button on the side of the arm, and then you just wear this t-shirt for about 72 hours, and you do whatever you would do. And then when the doctor gets the information, he actually gets it in real time. So if something happens, or he sees that something is wrong, or she sees that something is wrong, you're going to get a call from the doctor, and they can figure out what's wrong with your heart, or if it's just stress, or if it's actually a real problem that you need to fix. And then we have this product, which was a woman contacted us and wanted a watch-like thing that you could put on your child's wrist, so that you could, it's like a GPS tracker that they could bring with them at school and stuff. These things already exist, but the problem was when the kids got the wristband or like the watch strap, they would take it off because they thought it was ugly or didn't really like what it looked like. So what we needed to do was we needed to personalize it. So that's why we put all of these different like things on. So here, if you've seen the Crocs, where people put small pins on there with your own design, or if you like Superman or Spider-Man or whatever, you could do this with this strap as well and make it more personalized. And then we have something way different. So a way of creating a logo, where you can use this same process and then figure out how to make a logo that is more like there's a backstory behind it, I guess. So this company here, they create parties all over Sweden in different specific secret places. So what we did here was we took a map, we took one of those GPS icons, and then a martini glass, and then the letter L and F, which is lost and found, and we integrated into this logo. So you have the map, and then you have the martini glass, you have the L, which is down here, and then the F. And using this process, I'm going to show you in a few minutes, you can create stuff like this as well. And I think I have one more. So this is something that I didn't create Zapier, obviously, but Zapier is a way you could use this process to create innovative processes behind the curtains in your business. So Zapier, for the people that doesn't know what that is a software where you can connect different applications together and send information and data to different other applications. So let's say you get someone on your landing page signs up on your email opt-in form on MailChimp, then that information can be sent to your email, but it can also be sent to your Trello, make a card, or to your Google Docs and make a folder. Or what I use it for is when someone fills out my form, I use Jotform. That information gets sent from a Jotform to my Trello and creates a card with a new client with all the different check boxes that I need to create an animation for them. And then also it gets sent to my Google Drive and creates inside my client folder. It creates another folder with the name of this new client and puts all the files in there, or like folders in there that I need, which is crazy and really good. And the way I created that one and figured out what to put into the Zapier, I used this process. So my next point is here. I call this from product or from problem. To choose which way to attack the product design, we either chose to go from product or from problem. So if you go from product, for example, let's say you have this microphone here. If you go from product, you look for specific things on the product that exists already. So we have the microphone, or like this grid right here. You have this pivot right here. You have the outputs on the bottom. You have the volume dial, and you have the mute button and the stand. And so you go and you look at specific things on the product. And then based on that, you make the product better. You try to find ways to make this grid better, or can we do something with this pivot? Can we make a better pivot, or can we put other outputs on the bottom of it? Or so you go and try to just alter the product. Another way of doing it is you go from problem. You base it on problem. So let's say this guy wants to record something, but he can't. So then you would look for ways to solve that problem for him. So maybe you could have some kind of microphone here. You could have like a handheld one. You could have a watch. You could have a pin. You could record it from the camera, and you can also have a boom mic, I guess. And so here's my magical innovation process. So I'm going to go through here with you what I do when different steps I take to make sure that the product is innovative. So here's going to be sort of like a map, or like a step-by-step sort of overview of what I do. So I start by defining the problem, the product, defining what everything is, so that I know specifically what to do. And let's say I want to define the microphone as the product. I would go in there and say, like, this is what the main functionality of the product is. So the main functionality is probably to record things. I want to record my voice. I could record music. I could record like a conversation, but it doesn't really matter. It's the main functionality is record. And then I might define who the user is. I might define in what scenarios it's used and stuff. So I try to make a sort of a mind map on what the project is. Then if you go into the next step, I go research. And when I go in and research, I don't only go and Google everything, which is a good way of finding information. You can go Google what other products are out there, what are people saying about it, what are the problems that people are when they're giving feedback, or let's say they do a review and they don't like the product. What is it that they're saying that they don't like? What products are the most favorite ones, the ones that give the best reviews, I guess, and which ones are the ones that are giving the worst reviews. I also do this where I go to, if I have a client that comes to me and wants to design or redesign their product or make it better or make it more innovative, I would go to that client's users. So people that have used their product before, and also find other people that have used their competition before. And then I ask them about what do you like about it? What do you don't like about it? Do you know any other competitors that are doing it better or that are doing it worse? And then I ask them to show me when they're using the product and explain what they're doing. And this is very interesting, because what you usually see here when you film someone using a product, let's say you film someone using a microphone and you ask them to explain what they're doing, it's usually not this, like, it doesn't really correlate 100%. It doesn't really connect 100%. So they might say that, I'm holding it like this. And then you let them keep working with the microphone. And then after a while, you see that they're never holding it the way they're saying that they're holding it. Because it's unconscious. The way they're using it is unconscious. So what you're looking for here is not what they're saying that they're doing. You want to read between the lines, and you want to find out what they're actually doing, which is really crazy when you find something that is new, that you've never seen before, that nobody has used before. And it might be like something really obvious. Let's say you have an animation business and you want to find something like this. You would go to your clients and ask them, how are you using your animation after you bought it? Have you used it? And if they haven't used it, you ask them why. And ask them why they bought it. You try to figure out what the best use is for it. And maybe everybody else is doing like a explainer videos. So like 30, 60 or 90-second videos where you go through like a standard Code Phoenix formula pitch. But in reality, everybody wants a Facebook ads creative animation at 10 seconds with no voiceover, because that's what they're using at the moment. Then you want to try to pivot or make another offering where you sell the product as a Facebook ads creative. Maybe you can also do a subscription model there where you take they get like 10 creatives per month, or they get unlimited creatives per month at a price, let's say like $1,000 per month or something. So that's a pretty long-winded explanation for research, but I think that's a very important part. Then I go into ideation. So when I have the data from defining the product or the problem, and I have the research, I know exactly what the problems are, or ideas on how to, or things that people are doing at the moment that I could get, or I can integrate into my process. I go into ideating or ideation. This basically means I start sketching out ideas. So let's say I'm doing a logo for a client. I would check out all the research and what the product is, and etc. And then I would do thumbnail sketches, like a million different sketches, like small ones. If you've seen my other video on my time-lapse hair dryer sketch, you'll see me draw a bunch of different small sketches on how it could look like. But then you'll see me like draw out a bunch of different small sketches until I find something that I feel is different, or it solves a problem, or it's in some way it's better, or it could potentially be better than existing product. Then we go into prototyping. So when I have these sketches, because these are only sketches, these are only ideas. You could also do, when you do ideation, you could also just write down ideas, like do a journal or something, and write down ideas on how you can make your explain a video business better, your design business better, your physical product better, etc. So when you have these sketches, you find 2, 3, 4 different ones that you want to try out, and you prototype. And the way you prototype with a physical product, you basically make it in cardboard, you can make it in like a 3D printer, you can make it by hand. If it's a user experience product or a like an app or something, you would do it quickly in like in Photoshop, or with like printed cards that you can show to people. If you do this with an animation company, for example, I would just offer it to someone that has already bought something from me, or that I know that wants something different, and I'll send out like an email to a few different people and see if I get a response to it. You could also do this with landing pages and or basically anything that you want to develop or make more innovative. And then I go into testing, which is when you send out emails and stuff, you will get people to be the first person to test it. Maybe you give it out for free, or you charge a really small amount of money just to see if someone's interested in the product, like early adopters or pilot testers, I call them. So when we created products here, we would go back to the people that we researched with, the people that we interviewed, that we talked to, that we looked at before, and see if when they use our new prototype, if they're using it the way we intended, if they find something else, if they say that they like it, they don't like it, if there's anything specific in the product that they don't like or that they especially like. And once again, read between the lines. If they're saying that they're using it this way but they're not, then that is very important. Then I would leave the product with them for, depends on what the product is, but we left the Gaia product with our pilot testers for, I think, 2 months maybe. And then we got them to give us feedback inside of our Facebook group. So every time something happened, if it's positive, negative, or just like an idea, we encourage them to send that information or like post it in the Facebook group. So then we have data now on what people say. We get basically testimonials from all these people that we've tested with before the product even exists. And we also know which way to go. Should we work more on this? Should we change this thing? Now we know what people are saying that are actually using the product, that wants to use the product. You don't send your prototypes to friends, because friends they usually want to be nice to you. If you send it to someone that just showed interest in this product, then if you send it to them, they don't have any reason to actually be extra nice to you, like a friend, or they don't have that sort of barrier to your feedback. So what happens next is you do this and you do it over and over again. So you go back to when you have that data from your tests, you go back and you ideate again. So then you go back and you prototype, and then you test, and you go back, ideate, prototype, test. And you can do this forever, basically. The more you do it, the better the product's going to be, but the more you do it, the more time you're going to waste. You can do this over a weekend, like this whole process, or you can do this over 4 years. Doesn't matter. The process or the product is going to be better, probably, the more you do it, but I wouldn't recommend spending 4 years on doing it. Another way of visualizing this is this squiggle right here. This was a guy called Damien, I don't remember his last name, who made. A lot of designers I know use this as a visualization to show their clients what the process actually looks like. So he has the research here where he doesn't understand, it's really unclear, he doesn't have the insight yet. And then he does concepts, prototypes, and he refines until he gets to this sort of flat line where he has a really specific, focused idea of what the product should be. And then he has the delivery over here. And this is a process that me and my friend created, which we called Wouldn't It Be Cool If, and I Hate It When. And it sort of explains itself, but you have this, let's say you have this microphone again. You would give this to the people that you are interviewing. You would also do this for yourself to figure out different things, or just list different things the product should be and it shouldn't have. So, for example, here I think I listed out some things. It could be, with the microphone, wouldn't it be cool if it could remove background noise automatically? Another thing would be, wouldn't it be cool if it moved with you to find the perfect distance? So a big problem podcasters have, for example, is that you always have to move closer to the mic, but why do you have to move closer to the mic when the mic could move closer to you? And what you do is you don't want to look for how to solve the problem. You just want to figure out what you want. So it's wants, needs, desires. So if we keep listing things here, wouldn't it be cool if it was wireless? So here, if you came up with a solution, it could be, well, let's say it's battery driven, or It's connected to the wall, but it can find your voice wherever you are in the room. So it could be different solutions. And then what if it backed up all your recordings by default? So it has it could be that it has an SSD disk inside of it. So every time you record something, in case the computer shuts off or something happens or the recording gets corrupt in your computer, it also has a backup in your microphone. And then you can keep coming up with ideas here. And then the same thing with I hate it when. So I hate it when I can't find the microphone. I hate it when I can't fit it in my laptop bag. I hate it when you record and you find out the sound sucks when it's too late. So, and then keeps going. So here what happens is you have these a wide variety of different wants, needs, desires, dislikes, and stuff, so that you can then put that into your product and make it better. And you always get these feedbacks. You will get this outside of this process as well. But when you have this and you can ask 20 of your clients this, you will get a list of things that you could do that would be innovative in your niche or in your product. And you would be really competitive when you do this, because most people don't do this. They don't know this process. And even if they do, they don't spend time on it. Maybe they already get clients or they're satisfied with what they're getting. And I have the next part, which I call kill your darlings. So when you have ideas, when you do this process that I just showed you, you're going to get a million of ideas. But sometimes what happens is you fall in love with the first idea you get, and then you go with that idea. That idea is usually not the best idea. So I have a quote here where your first idea is rarely your best idea. And I want you to remember this, because what happens is what you figure out when you start sketching out and coming up with ideas and like writing down ideas is that when you look back at the first idea after going through like 1,000 different other alternatives or variations, the first one is rarely the best one. It's usually really bland and very uncreative. It's not very creative at all. The last one is usually the one that is going to be the innovative one. So the way I visualize this is you have all these ideas, right? Maybe you have a microphone on a pivot that follows you, a microphone that can run to you, a microphone with a sensor that senses where you are, a foldable microphone, a moldable microphone that is like a jelly or something. Then you have an SSD backup, you have battery power, you have some kind of camera system, I don't know, like a drone microphone. So what you want to do is you want to kill your first ideas so that you can get to the really good ones. To summarize, so if we look back at the hairdryer time-lapse video I created, a normal hairdryer usually looks like, most of them look the same. Maybe they figured out a good solution back in 1950s, but probably not. You have the ergonomics that, like the handle of it might not be perfect. You see this funnel thing at the end. Maybe that sort of creates a different stream of air. Maybe the energy that goes through it, or like the air that comes through it, has to go through it in a different way. Maybe it could be wireless. Could be like you just dock it into something and then it charges up, and then you can use it, and you can use it wherever you want in the house. But this would be based on the actual problems, dreams, visions, desires that your testers or your pilot testers would have given you. So if you look at that video, you'll see me do all these sketches. So you have like the first ones here. I'll actually do this as well. So the first ones you see, they look pretty much like the original sketch that I showed you, or like the original image that I showed you with the hairdryer. But then you get down here and you have like this weird square one, and you have this wireless with a sensor, then this spaceship looking thing, and then you get down to this one that looks nothing like the first one. And then you keep going, and you finally get to this last one. And then what I do is I create a first sort of visual or like a visualization that is more detailed, where you can see the different like the battery indicator, and you see like where everything would sort of fit in this thing. And I'll create, like you saw in the first image with the Gaia one, I'll create a few different versions, like in 3D, that you can turn around. And maybe I'll 3D print some of them, and you can hold it in your hand. And with animation, like an animation business or a web design business, or like an e-learning course, for example, you would do the same thing, but you would do it digitally. So you'll like test it out, maybe make a mock-up inside of like a mock-up sort of software. And then you'll test it out with your first group. Maybe if it's an e-learning course, you'll do it physically, or like you'll not physically, but you'll sit down with each person and then ask them questions on and try to teach them one by one, and then figure out what it actually is that you should do in your like recorded version. And so if we go back to the first video I created, where I went through all of these different industries, design industries, you'll see here you can use this process for concept design, where you test out, you do wouldn't it be cool if, I hate it when. So if you want to do like a character, like in this case a motorcycle, you would go through and it's like, oh, I hate it when this happens. I hate it when this happens. Wouldn't it be cool if it didn't have to have wheels? Maybe it's flying, or it's like a spaceship kind of motorcycle. And also you would go through the define, research, ideate, prototype, and test process as well. So that you get a lot of different ideas out, and then you kill your darlings, you kill like most of your first ideas, and then you go back and you have one golden gem of an idea that is super competitive. Same thing with product design, with game design, with fashion design, packaging, animation, etc. So I have a few different ones here I can go through. So let's say you have an explainer video business. You would go through the process where you define what is an explainer video, what is it that we're selling, what is the product, what are people doing at the moment, and then you research other businesses that are doing the same thing, look at their reviews, ask people that have bought from you before, maybe ask people that have bought from them before, or maybe just look at their reviews and see what they're focusing on in their testimonials that they really like. And then you start ideating. So you would sketch out, or like type out some ideas on how you can make this better. Like what are the different things that the people are focusing on? How could that look in a product? This could also come down to how do you use copy, or how do you present this idea that you're selling? And then you would make a prototype or make an actual product. In this case, you can just do like a landing page and like, oh, now we're selling these 10-second long creative animations that you can use in your ads. And it's a subscription model where you pay $1,000 per month, and you get unlimited amounts of animations. And then you see how many people actually go on and buys the product. And you keep doing this until you find something that people are like, they are standing in line to get your product. And this makes you super competitive because if nobody else does this, you will be the one that are solving their problems and that are communicating what they have in their head better than they can. And same thing with web design. So you would do the same thing. Maybe people want landing pages and not like a main page. If you do social media marketing agency, you would do the same thing. Maybe they have a specific way of doing each social media post. Maybe you'll create a story behind it because that's what people are actually looking for. They want the story behind it and they're not interested in like a quote or whatever everyone else is doing. Physical products, I've gone through that quite a bit. 3D visualization could be the same thing as doing explainer video stuff. So if everyone wants photorealistic renders, that's what you would do, basically, based on your research. If people want cartoony, like with outlines and stuff around their visualizations, maybe they want it to look really sketchy or like sketched out, like a ballpoint pen or something. Maybe you'll create some sort of plugin or template on top of your renderings where you just push this button and you can generate that as a bonus or whatever that could be. Game development is the same thing. App development, fashion. If you look at the fashion industry, they do like a fashion show. And a fashion show, you see like the catwalk and stuff. That is like doing prototype or like testing, seeing what people are saying, getting a bit like a hype around your product and stuff. E-learning, I do that a bit as well. So yeah, I think that's about it. If you have any questions, feel free to get in touch with me, and see you in the next one.